and tells him to run before more paladins come. David tries to go after her to demand an explanation, but a cop gets in his way, so David teleports him to Egypt as punishment. Then David returns to the station and tells Millie the cops let them go just like that. Millie doesn't believe it can be this easy, but David asks her to trust him and takes her to the airport. Not understanding why they're running if things are supposedly fine, Millie demands an explanation. David shows her all the money in his bag but doesn't give her any answers. He only tells her they can't be together anymore. Feeling betrayed, Millie flies back to her hometown alone. Meanwhile, Roland's team calls him to inform him they were defeated, almost as if someone knew they were coming. Then Roland visits William, who pretends he hasn't seen his son in 8 years. William also admits that even if he does see David, he won't tell the police, which Roland doesn't appreciate. Moments later, David shows up at Griffin's hideout and finds out that Griffin hunts down paladins to kill them. It turns out paladins have been doing this for centuries, and they're responsible for things like the witch trials and the Inquisition. Griffin points out that if they can't get a jumper, they'll attack their loved ones, making David worried. Millie is safe for now because she's on a long flight, so David teleports to his old home and is devastated to find William dead on the floor. Grief doesn't allow David to think straight and he teleports William to the hospital, but there's nothing the doctors can do to save him. Furious, David goes to the police station and threatens Mark until he admits he was the one that told Roland everything about their hometown, including David's feelings for Millie. David realizes he must catch Roland before Millie lands in the US, so he teleports to Griffin's hideout to try to steal his paladin research. Griffin doesn't let him, explaining that unlike the henchman, Roland is too dangerous. This makes David think they should team up to defeat him, but Griffin turns him down, saying he prefers to work alone. Then Griffin teleports to Tokyo and David follows him to keep bothering him about teaming up. Griffin prefers to steal a car to have some fun, and brings David along, showing him how he can make the car jump along on the road. David never jumped with something this big, and Griffin confesses he once knew a guy that tried to teleport a whole building but died in the process. After David asks for the millionth time, Griffin accepts to team up as long as David doesn't